Hello, this is Brian again. This is part 3 of my Mount Hillyer hike. Well, basically here at the highest point I could find on the ridge. This is the 6,200 foot level here. So this over there actually is right over there. I think I remember having to go through this. There's a small high point with some rocks over there. Just gotta watch out for poodle dog bush around here. This right here, I've watched a lot of other hikers' videos on YouTube, and they confuse this with poodle dog bush. This is actually hairy leaf yerba santa. This is Areodictyon trichocalyx variety trichocalyx. Now, here's the thing though. While it may not be poodle dog bush, it is a close relative of the poodle dog bush. But, unlike with poodle dog bush, this plant was used for, I guess, for medicinal purposes and a thirst quencher and for teas. And come to San Gabriel's, you're going to see a lot, and I mean a lot, of this type of yerba santa. There's another type of yerba santa found here called Areodictyon crassifolium variety crassifolium, which is a much taller shrub, sometimes significantly taller than a human, and has felty leaves instead of these shiny, greasy leaves. Their leaves are felty and kind of grayish in color. Now right over here is the highest point. And I remember I came here before. This is the highest point I could find on the entire ridge of Mount Hillyer. This is where the 6,200 foot summit is. Then again, here it is again. This is the tricky thing. I swear, every time I go to a high point, I look at it and think, hey, this is the highest point. But I believe this is about as high as you're going to get on Mount Hillyer. Right here. Right where this jumble of rocks is. Now there are a couple other points that do look pretty close. That's the thing. This is the second time I've been up here to Mount Hillyer, and just like the first time, I'm very confident that one spot is the summit. Then I look around and I find something else that looks like it could be just as high. Mount Hillyer is not an easy summit to discern. So you probably would want to have all of those GPS coordinates to find the 6,200 foot summit and to find 6162. But this is one of those very well, one of those highest points. Well, I am a little bit higher than the boulders over there. Then we got that hill over there. So Mount Hillyer is a confusing mountain peak. And I was telling you about poodle dog bush earlier, that yerba santa is a close relative of it. This is poodle dog bush. It's definitely more upright than the yerba santa. It's in the same genus too, Areodictyon. It used to be placed in the genus Terricola perry. Now botanists have reassigned this to Areodictyon, like the yerba santa. And like the hairy yerba santa, sorry about my bottle, I know it's annoying. Just like the hairy yerba santa, which those right there that I pointed out earlier, these are also sticky and greasy plants. However, their leaves have the hairs that have phenolic compounds in their leaves, that are supposed to cause a nasty rash. From what I heard, thankfully not with first-hand experience, very, very irritating and very painful. Yeah. So that's something you want to learn, not something you want to know firsthand. So yeah, I'm still, now that I think about it, I don't feel quite as confident that that was the summit. So it kind of did go up and dip down here, the 6,200 foot summit. I mean, maybe the very top of that rock might be it, but yeah, I remember kind of weaving a path through all the Yerba Santa here the first time I'd come up, and yeah, it was kind of weird how it works out every time I come here. This is the second time I've been here, and the second time I've been a little confused. Right over here is the highest point, right here. I didn't see that other use trail that branched off like that first one I showed you. That first one I showed you, I don't think was the right one. But I know there's supposed to be at least 2 use trails that branch to the opposite side there. Okay. All right. I believe that this is the highest point on Mount Hillyer. And then again, I look over there. Yeah, this looks like the actual high point right here. Right off the side of the trail. Because when I was here on the trail, I looked back that way, nothing looked higher. Looked over this way, nothing looked higher. In fact, you notice the perspective of the trees, you see it's starting to go down. So, yes, the high point is actually right here. This is where the high point is, right here of Mount Hillyer. Just this very broad summit. So the trail actually basically goes right on top of it. So this is what the high point of Mount Hillyer looks like. Like I said, it's very indistinct. The summit's very indistinct. You will probably end up scratching your head a few times saying, am I at the summit? And you poke around and you see something that's higher, and you see something that's higher. So yeah, this is a confusing summit, but this is about as high terrain as I've seen. Then again, see that point where the rocks are over there looks pretty close as well. So I did, like I said, I walked over there to double check, and it's a kind of a toss-up between here and where the rocks are under that canyon live oak tree. So I mean, I've been up to the high point already. Still want to find the 6,162 foot summit. That would be nice, but I don't know. I never saw another use trail. The use trail is supposed to be that way from the summit. The summit's right here, and then the use trails, there's supposed to be at least 2 of them that branch off in this direction, and I only saw 1 of them this time. Well, the first one coming from this direction, when I did it the first time, if I remember correctly, I think it was starting to get overgrown. It was not quite as distinct as that one was. I think that one was becoming a little overgrown. Like, I'm looking around here trying to find another summit, another bump, and it's just not happening. It's just not happening. So this is basically what you're looking at summit-wise for Mount Hillyer. It's kind of a decent-sized summit plateau. Now, if you're really concerned about views, yeah, you're going to have to kind of move around to find them, but the scenic quality is definitely here. I think it's beautiful up here, especially this side of the ridge where the trees are everywhere. So I do very highly recommend a hike to Mount Hillyer. You're going to see some nice forest and wooded areas, and you'll have some open spots that are shrubbier and more exposed to the sun. So, as I said, hiking up to Mount Hillyer is definitely worth it. I think it is. Now, part 3 featured me getting to the high point here, just like now. Part 4, I'm not sure what's going to happen at part 4. If I find that little use trail, I'll take a look at it and see if I can find a bump that looks like it would be about 61, 62 in elevation. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. This is the high point of Mount Hillyer, and me, I prefer to be on the high point. And like I said, I do love coming up here, and the Jeffrey pines, Coulter pines, a few sugar pines. There are more sugar pines on this side of the ridge, by the way, if you're interested. If you're coming up from Chilao, you'll come across a lot more sugar pines. There are a fair amount over this way, but there are definitely more on this side. And there are a lot of boulders and big rocks that last time I came, a lot of people were climbing up the rocks and stuff. So Mount Hillyer is a great place to have some fun. It's not just hiking. You find some rock climbing and some mountaineering, and then forest peeping if you love coming up to peep the forest like I do. But I'll see you in the last part 4, which will be either just me rounding up my day or coming up to what I think is point 6162, and then again wrapping up my day. So I'll see you in part 4. I'll see where that leads me.